Hello. I think it's very interesting that Turkey is now playing, what I can only say is a very interesting diplomatic game. Erdogan's foreign minister, Çavuşoğlu, hosted last week Dmytro Kuleba and the foreign minister from Russia, Sergei Lavrov. It was a positive effort, but very little progress was made, but it was a start. Now, Mr. Erdogan is treading a very, very interesting and difficult tightrope. On the one hand, he is a NATO member. On the other hand, the support for NATO in his country among the people is quite weak. He has built fairly strong links with Mr. Putin, wobbly links, but strong enough. And they're probably strong enough for him to be able to stand face to face with Mr. Putin, despite the fact that he's been on the other side during the Syrian war, despite the fact that he's provided armed drones to Ukraine, and despite the fact that he is in the middle of a negotiation to provide an alternative route for gas to the EU, probably from Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Israel, even Egypt. The other efforts which are going on at the moment are the Israeli diplomatic initiative, probably prompted by Germany, in fact, and also President Macron. President Macron doesn't seem to be getting very far, but at least he is able to talk directly to Mr. Putin. The last time Mr. Putin reported back after his extraordinary meeting with Macron over that very long table, he described talking to Macron as boring, but clearly he's prepared to put up with that boredom a little bit more. This is positive. Bore rather than war. Meanwhile, news has emerged of the arrest of a number of named FSB officers, the bosses, Sergei Orestovich and his deputy Anatoly Volinkin. But we also know that about 8 commanders have already been sacked from the FSB. Now, the rumours are that Putin was annoyed that he'd been given the wrong information, that he was annoyed that he'd been told that Mr. Zelensky was deeply unpopular, and the alleged Nazi presence in Ukraine has not manifested. Now, both of these ideas of Zelensky's unpopularity and this Nazi threat are beginning to prove very difficult to maintain across the domestic Russian media, even allowing for the overwhelming propaganda effort that's been going on. So it's a miscalculation that people are now being punished for. This may be the first sign of an exit strategy for Mr. Putin. Not my fault, Governor. Misleading intelligence, miscalculation. Oi. Very interesting. There are stories coming out from the FSB of junior officers saying, we are being scolded for our analysis and we are being fed to the lions. I don't know whether, I think it would be extremely unrealistic to see this as the first sign of a movement to oust Mr. Putin from office. But I think it might be a first sign that Mr. Putin is looking for a serious exit strategy where he can emerge with his honour intact, or at least as intact as his high-heeled shoes will allow.